Hello, am I audible now? Okay. Hi everyone. Okay. So in yesterday's session, we built our portfolio website. So let's see today what we are going to do. So today, first thing that we'll be doing is we will be refining our website, right? So see, we have this website here. So we have this favicon and React app, right? So we this does not look good. So first we will change that, right? And the second thing that we will be doing is adding routes. Like yesterday, what we did was we just made our site with hashed out links, right? See, we were just hashing out to like linking to different section of our website, right? That is what we were doing in yesterday's session. So today we will be adding routes, right? So we'll be seeing how in React we add links and route to different section of our website, right? So for example, this website, right here, if I am on home, I'll be on this particular page. If I go to about, I will be on about me page. And if I go to projects, I will be on projects page, right? So we will be adding this functionality. And then we will be like obviously when we write all the code and everything, right? And if we want it to be like shown in public, then how can we do that? So obviously GitHub is the way. So we'll be adding code to GitHub. And then also like right now when you start your React application, it runs on your local machine. So if you want to show your website to other people, right, in a form of a link, then you need to deploy it somewhere, right? So that we will be doing on Netlify, right? So let's start with the session. Okay. So first thing that we will be doing is let's change these favicons here, right? So let's head to our. Okay, wait. I have not shared my screen. Okay. Very sorry for that. Like, is my screen visible now? Okay. So I actually explained everything without the screen. Okay. So we'll repeat everything. So we'll be adding favicon, title, routes, and we will be putting our code on GitHub, and we'll be deploying our site on Netlify, right? So the routing thing is this, right? Yesterday we made our site like this, right? Everything was on a single page, and we had just linked to different sections of the website, right? Which does not look good, right? So with React, you have the functionality of adding routes, right? Currently, what like if you try to add routes with an anchor tag, you are essentially doing the same thing, that is requesting from the server again and again all the files required to view that particular page, right? So that we don't want to do, right? So in React we need to see how does that happen, right? So here, see, if I click on about, I should be seeing something like this, and my about section should be shown to me. Similarly, if I go to projects and if I do this slash portfolio, I should be able to see my projects here, right? So we will be adding this, and that we can add using React router. Okay, so let's see how we do like add React router. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to install React router DOM. Okay, so if we go to the documentation, right, this might be a little tricky to use. So I have already have a blog in which everything is written in a simplified manner, right? So the first thing that you need to do is you need to install this particular library, right? So it is one aspect of React, but it does not get installed automatically, like it is not already present in your application. If we go and see our application, so see, I told you we can see all the dependencies inside of our package.json file. So here you can see that we have React DOM, React scripts, typewriter effect, and web vitals, right? So React DOM and these three and this web vitals, they are already present. Like they are downloaded by default, right? but React router is not present here. So first we need to get React router. So what is how to get React router? We need to just do npm I react router dom, right? So we will go to the terminal. So when you go to the terminal, make sure you are inside of your React application. So right now you can see I am inside of this LaunchPadx folder here, right? So first I need to move inside of this folder, right? So first I'll just say cd portfolio website, and then we will be inside of this folder. And inside of this folder, what I need to do is I need to npm I react router dom. All right. So this will just fetch this library and download it and install it for us to use. All right. So see, it has been added. Okay. Also, if you see something like this while downloading the libraries, don't worry about that. That's just an what do you call it? That's just a warning kind of a thing. Okay. So now let's move on and see how we have to add React router and add these routes in our application, right? If I go to about or projects or anywhere, correct? So the first thing that you need to do is, so we have done the very first thing, that is get this React router dom, right? After we have this, we need to set up this, right? And first thing is we need to set up our router. So how do we set up our router? See, so there is a browser router, right? It is a function from a component from inside of React router DOM, right? And native router. So whenever we are building web applications and we need to add routes, right? So we utilize browser router. And like React can also be used for developing mobile applications. So if you are developing like using React Native, then you have to use native router. So currently we are building our website. So what we are going to use? We are going to use browser router. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to wrap all our application within this browser router, and then we can add routes. So that is the first step. So let's quickly go ahead and do it. So our whole application, as I said in the previous sessions, our whole applications is inside index.js, right? So here we need to add browser router, right? So we'll just say browser router. Okay. And we will just wrap our whole application within this component that comes from where? It comes from React router, right? Wait, it's not showing me. Let's get it from here only. Right. So here now we have our whole application wrapped inside of this. Now we can go ahead and add these routes, whichever we want. Now it is very simple to set this up because see, all we need to do is we need to just specify the routes we want. See, we need a slash about and a slash portfolio and a slash. So your homepage, or you can see this particular URL, right? So you are present here. So this is the slash route, right? So initially, like by default, when your site loads, what route should it go to, right? So that is the slash route. So you need to specify that as well. So currently we are on this particular page. So this is our, like in yesterday's session, I'll just remind you all the pages that we made. We had a landing page, a portfolio page, and about page. So this was our landing page, correct? And this was our about page, and this was our projects page, correct? So this particular landing page, we need to this is our home page, correct? So we need to specify its route as slash. So where do we do that? We go inside of app.js, and here we need to specify all our routes. So now see here. So we are done with this step, right? Now what we need to do, we need to define the routes that we need. That is the slash, that is the home route, then slash about and slash portfolio. So it's very easy. All you need to do is you need to go inside of your app, right? And there you have to specify routes like this, correct? So we have routes, and inside of this you will be having this particular route, that is the slash route. It will be shown to you by default. Like when your website loads, like when you hit this particular URL, this is the slash URL, oh sorry, the slash route, right? So you will be loaded this particular component, correct? So here you can see this is the component in which you need to put all your routes in, right? Always remember to wrap all your routes within this routes component, correct? So let's go inside of our app and let's go below this and let's wrap our routes inside. So we'll say routes. See, it is telling us it is coming from React router DOM. Inside of these routes, we need to specify a route. So the first route is our slash, right? So this will be loaded by default. Now, see, here's how things become easy, right? You just specify the element you need to see. Like yesterday, we talked about these particular pages that we made, right? We were calling them like this here. So all we need to do is we need to make a route here, right? After we make this route, let's get it also. First thing you need to specify is the path, right? So the path right now is the slash, right? What should be loaded by default, you need to specify here. And what element do you need to see when it is loaded? So that you specify in the element, right? These are two attributes of this particular component and you have to specify within this. So what do you need? You need landing page, right? So I'll just cut and copy from here. Okay, and we'll just put it here as it is, right? So now when I load this particular route, I will be showing my landing page, correct? Now the next route, what do we need? We need about route, correct? So here we need to specify the path. So the path is going to be slash and about, right? So when when the user goes to this particular route, what should I be seeing? I should be seeing this particular element, correct? So I will just say element, and inside here I will just cut and paste it here. Okay. Now the next thing, the next route that we need in our application is slash portfolio, correct? And the element that we need to see here is our portfolio, right? Now see, now our routes are ready, correct? So first thing, like, now let's overview what this app.js contains. It contains, like, it's going to, like, first of all, it has an object, right, which we are passing to some of our components, that is landing and about. And then it is returning us some JSX syntax. What is that? It is header. Like, it should first show us header, and then we have added these routes. So when you go and hit these routes, so if you go on slash, like, by default you will be hitting this particular element. Then if we go on slash about, we will be hitting this particular element. Similarly, if we go to slash portfolio, then we will be hitting this particular element, correct? Now see, we have defined routes. Now how will we know that if I click on, like right now you see, let me remove this. Okay, now we are on localhost, correct? Now you can already see this. See, we have added routes, correct? Now I'm not able to scroll below. Why is that? Because I have removed everything from here, and because of this slash I am able to see my landing page already. But if I click on about or projects, see, we are seeing this hash portfolio and hash about because that we have specified in another file of ours, right? But how do we know that? By clicking on this particular button, I should be navigated to that particular route. So for that you don't have to use an anchor tag. And the reason is that when you use an anchor tag, you give an href, right? So href basically does what? It goes to the server and requests those files, right? That is the working of anchor tag. Here we are not utilizing this, right? We have a single page application. So router just will load all your routes and everything, like all your routes and all the elements related to your routes. And everything will be on your browser only. And when you hit these slash about and slash portfolio, you will be able to view these particular routes, right? So now let's go to this documentation and let's see. So this step also we have done. We specified our routes. Now we need to know how to navigate So you have link or nav link component inside of React Router DOM, which it provides you. So it is basically a way to, tell, like, from wherever you want to, move to that particular URL, you can simply, tie this together, right? What you are doing is you are tying this particular button with this particular route. So that is what your link component does, right? So let's quickly do this. So we specified our links within this links.jsx file, right? Here we had these ahref and etc. So now here, what do we need? We need these, right? We need links, right? So that we know whenever we are, clicking on home, we should be, directed to, like, for example, we're clicking on home, we should be on the landing page. We will be hitting slash route, correct? And then if we are on slash about, then we should be hitting slash about route, and we should be showing that particular component. And if we are on slash portfolio, then we will be showing that particular component, correct? So let's quickly do that. So I'll just say link, right? Now inside of link, what do we need? We need a two, right? So this two will bind this particular, like, this particular button with this particular route. So when you click on this particular button, right, you will be, it is like an anchor tag only. Like, it is not a button, but let's suppose it to be a kind of a tag only. Like, you have anchor tags, you specify, links. So here you are just linking to the different part of your website, to different routes of your website. So if you just click on this particular, home, right, so then you will be directed to your home page, right, which is linked to this particular route, correct? So what we need to specify first, let's get it. So we can see it comes from React Router DOM. So we need to specify the route, correct? So inside of this, let's also grab this function, because we are using it when we are making our page responsive, correct? Now inside of this, I will just write home, okay? And similarly, I will remove all these. I will copy and paste this twice. Now let's make for about, right? So whenever I will be clicking on this particular section, I will be taken to slash about route, correct? So this is our about section, and here we will be having portfolio, right? Always make sure that whatever you are specifying here, it should be exactly the same as one of your routes you have defined in your app.js, correct? So here we have slash portfolio, and here we have to just show projects, correct? Now let's go back and let's move to our application, right? I'll just remove this from here. Now you can see, if I, let's refresh this, right? When I am on slash, then I can see my landing page. When I go to about, see, my whole about page is loaded, and when I go to projects, my whole portfolio is loaded, correct? So this is how we add routing, right? Now let's go and change the favicon and this title here, right? Are you guys following this? What are you asking, Shivam? Route exact path? I did not get your question. Are you guys able to understand? So I hope you guys are understanding what I just did here, right? So I've done nothing. See, from here, let's, if somebody is asking something. Now I've sent connection LinkedIn. Okay, sure, Rohit, I will do that. Okay, so to set up React router, first what you need to do is you need to get this dependency, right? Only then you will be able to utilize different components coming from this React router DOM. So you just need to go inside of your React app in terminal and just write this npmi React router DOM. This will install this dependency. And once you have this dependency, you need to set up your router, right? So what you need to do is if you are building your web application, you need to wrap all your application within this browser router. After you are done with browser router, you need to go and define your routes, right? So that we did inside of app.js. We have just written all the routes that we are going to have. Then what we need to do, we need to provide some navigation, right? like like okay, even if I don't have any navigation, if I just go and just write slash about slash portfolio, I will be able to see it. But from where, like on the front end, like how the user will know that there is a route called slash about slash portfolio, etc. So for that you need to give him some navigation, right? Some buttons or something from where he can click and go to that particular route. So for that we use this link. Where is it? Yep. So we use link or nav link. These components come from React Router DOM, and we just write it like this, and we specify the route it should be moving to once it is clicked. Correct. So that is what we are doing. So we have also added routes here. Now the second thing that we are going to do is we need to just change this favicon and this title. So just like all the HTML, CSS, JavaScript websites, our title is present inside of HTML file, right? So here inside of public folder, you can see this index.html. If you go inside of this, you can see your title here, right? So just change this title from here, and I'll just write my name here, and I'll just write portfolio, right? I'll be able to see. Now I'm able to see my title of the website. Now to change this favicon, see, you have this particular file, like you have from here you are able to see this favicon. So all you need to do is just change this favicon file. Right now it is this react symbol, right? So to create your favicon, you can go to favicon generator websites, right? Or favicon.io. From here you can get any free favicons. Even if you have any logo of yours or anything, you can just put onto this you can just generate your own favicon as well, from text or from emoji or anything, right? So let's go and let's generate from an emoji. Let's say we take this one. Okay, see, so I have gotten multiple folders of this, right? Sorry, multiple files of favicon. So let's just select this one. Okay, and let's go inside of our public folder, and let's, okay, I'm not able to post. Okay, uh, I will just move inside of my folder, and here inside of public you just go and paste your favicon, right? So I will just replace the file, right? So let's hope it has been changed, right? So it has been changed, and we will also be able to view it on our website. See, it has been changed, right? So our favicon is changed and our title is also changed. So so we are done with two of the things here, right? Now let's move ahead with adding our code to GitHub. To add your code to GitHub, what you need to do is on Netlify, yes, you can you can deploy your website for free there, right? So let's quickly go on GitHub, right? So the first step is you need to create a new repository, right? So I'll just click on this plus icon. I will say new repository, and then I will be writing portfolio here, portfolio website, right? Now you don't have to touch anything. Like if you want to make this repository private and public, you can do from this from here. Also you can add a readme file. um, see this git ignore file, we'll discuss what this git ignore is like, but you don't, it is already present in your React app. Like, here you can see our git ignore is present, so you don't have to create another file here, right? So now let's just go and create a repository. So once you create your repository, you will be directed to a page like this, right? So here are the steps that you need to do, right? To upload your code to GitHub, right? So the first step is git init, right? So what you will do is, first let's open a new terminal. Again, always be inside of the folder of which you have to add all the files to, right? So first we will move to our folder where our React application is, right? Because we need to just add all the files inside of this portfolio website folder. So always move inside of this folder and only then you will be able to add, right? Otherwise, if you are just inside of this LaunchPadx, you can still, create a Git repository, connect and add all the files, but you don't but we don't need that, right? We only need this portfolio website and all our React application there. So we'll first move inside of our application. We'll say portfolio website. Right now we are inside of this directory. Here what we need to do, we need to write git init, so it is gonna initialize it as a repository. Right now what we need to do, we need to add all the files. So we have this particular command here, right? So here it is saying git add readme.md, but we need to add all these files. So to add all the files, you need to write git add and dot. So a full stop or a dot just means that you want to add all the files inside of this particular folder. So once I click on that, see, right? So all my files will be added here. Okay. These are some warnings. You can like ignore them, right? Then let's move on to the next step. Now, once you have added all these files, you need to commit them, right? So what commit basically means is, see, there is a area where all your files will be put, right? So that area is called staged area. So whenever you are dealing with GitHub, there are two areas, that is your local machine and the next is the staged area. That from git add dot, what you are doing is you are placing all these changes inside of like all these files inside of a of state changes, right? So after all these files are present inside of staged area, then you need to commit, right? You need to tell GitHub, okay, all these files are present inside of the staged area. So we write this command for that. This is just the message. The command is git commit -m, and here you can write anything, right? Here first commit is written, but you can also go and change it to anything you like to, and then you just click on commit, enter, right? So after you do this, so see, it has just told GitHub that, see, all these files are present, right? All these files were present inside of the staged area, right? Now they are no longer on the, like, they are on the local machine, but their copies are inside of your staged area, right? GitHub now knows this. Now all we need to do is, we need to, now this command is, in GitHub we have some branches, right? So if you don't have any branch, by default your branch is going to be main. So this command is going to push all your code inside of this main branch, right? Which is by default. So during your first commit, always commit to main branch. You can also create other branches in your repository, and you can, move along across those branches and, commit your changes inside of those branches. Right now we don't need that, so we will just commit our changes inside of main, right? Now how does GitHub gonna know, like, where, like, on what repository on GitHub you are trying to, put all your code in? So this command is for that. That is git remote add origin. Like, you initialized this particular folder, portfolio website, as a Git repository, but from where you have to tie it? So you have to tie it to this particular GitHub repository that you just made online, right? So this command will do that for you. And after you are done with all these steps, you have to just push all the things that you have inside of your staged area to this particular GitHub repository. So let's do this, right? So after this command, all our code will be pushed to our GitHub repository. Now if I go to my GitHub, right, after doing all these steps, you have to refresh the page and then you'll be able to see all the code. So here you can see I have my public folder, src folder, and all the other files. Now notice here you don't have your node modules folder, right? You don't have this particular folder here. And why is that? It is because of this particular file git ignore, right? Inside of git ignore you can see there are some file names written, right? So if you don't want anything to be put on github, right, so you can just put those file, like location of those files inside of your git ignore file. Okay, so here we have slash modules and we have other files as well. Also we have slash build we are going to just discuss in a while, and all these files, right? So we don't require these to be present on our github repository, right? So by default react creates this git ignore file which is by default, right? So all the things present inside of here, all the folders, all files, anything on the path specified, all those things will not be moving to the github repository. Okay, so this is the file, and that is why, like, this is why we are not able to see node modules there. And the reason is, see, and the reason is we don't even need node modules, right? Are we doing any changes in node modules? No. So see, node modules is only for, like we discussed in the first session, that node modules contains the description, like all the files about your dependencies that you have installed, right? So initially react dom and these four dependencies are, installed already. So information about like all the files required to run, like related to these dependencies, or to required to run these dependencies or to use these dependencies, are present inside of node modules, right? So now the reason why we don't need node modules there is because from our package.json, like this file is so important. And why it is important is, now see, if I just go on my GitHub, right? If somebody wants to use my project here, right? I am trying to make it open source, right? I have created a public repository, right? So from here, anyone can access, right? So if I go and clone this repository, then I will be having only these files, right? So how am I gonna get my node modules? So if you just write npm I in your terminal, right, then you can get these node modules, right? Npm I will do what? It will just go through your package.json and it will just bring all the files necessary for the development, right? And all the files related to these dependencies that you need to use these dependencies, right? So that is why we don't need node modules even, right? So you can just go on my GitHub repository, this particular repository, and from here you can just clone this repository and you will be able to use it on your system. But before that, node modules are necessary to run these dependencies, as we know. Otherwise our app will not be running. So to run these dependencies you need to do npm I, right? So npm I will do what? It will go through your package.json, right? It will see all the dependencies and other things and it will just install it for you so that you will be able to use it. So once you will do like npm I, from there you will be able to see this node modules folder, right? So I hope this is clear, like how to add your code to GitHub. Like first you need to create your repository, then you will be like all the steps will be present there only. You need to first initialize it, then you have to add all the files to the staged area, then you need to commit it. You need to tell GitHub that see all these files are present inside of the staged area, right? And it will create all the copies of it. And then what you need to do, you need to set your branch as main, and then you need to link your git repository that you initialized here to the repository you created online, and then you have to push your code onto this repository. So that is how you have to add your code, right? Mm, okay, so are you guys following? Shivam is asking when will give path as exact path in routes. Hmm, I'm still not sure of the question that you are asking. Okay, you just DM me after the session, I'll tell you. Like, but please describe it to me. Like, I'm not able to understand your question properly. Okay, so now we have updated our, like we have put our code onto GitHub. Now the next step we need to do is we need to put this somewhere, like we need to deploy it somewhere so that we will be able to access it through a link, right? So now let's come back to the first session again, and we discussed the problem, right? So we discussed two problems. So the first one was scaling, right? HTML, CSS, JavaScript file. So scaling was a problem, right? When we were building bigger websites, then we were, the code was getting messy. The second reason was that we were using a lot of JavaScript, and because of having different browsers, right? Not all the browsers were supporting, some of the functionalities of JavaScript, or in different browsers, the same thing would, happen differently, right? It would not be the same as what the developer would want to show. Correct. So for that, like, how is React tackling that problem, right? Of the different browsers, like, right. So React, like, you are already seeing that we are, all we are doing is we are writing some JavaScript code, etc. We are doing the same thing, right? It is HTML, we have CSS, and we also have some JavaScript code, right? And the JavaScript code that we are writing is obviously, it is modern JavaScript, right? So how is React tackling the problem of browsers, right? It is the same thing. So that is tackled using build command, right? So before deploying it to, on any site, right? Before having a deployment link, you need to build your website, right? So if I just go to package.json again, you can see here that we have this build command, right? So what is this build command? Let's see. So first, again, be inside of your React application, and then just write npm run build. Now let's see what this will do. So it is going to create a build folder here, right? We will be able to see it. So just keep seeing here. It will take a little bit of time, right? And obviously the other reason is that, see, whenever let's go to our React application here, and let's see its size. So if I go and if I click on app and property, right? So it is a React app. So its size will be like in 1 GB, or just like close to a GB, right? Its size will be that big. So you might be wondering, like, if we have, like, see, we have so many files here, so many, like, there are a lot here already, right? So how is it better than HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? So it is better because, so let it count. We'll see it afterwards. So it will be close to a GB. Now see, we have gotten our build folder created. Now what is this build folder? Okay, it has not been created. It is being created. Okay, so let's wait for a minute more, right? So you can already see some of the files here, but these files are already present here. So what is build doing, right? So see, this command is only for, when you put your code online, right? Then you can't obviously put all these files and everything here. Also, you are already using modern JavaScript. So React does what? It, makes your code compact, right? It changes all the, CSS and JavaScript and HTML written here in a compact code, right? And older version of JavaScript, like very basic JavaScript, not older version, very basic JavaScript, right? So we'll see here. So there will be a static folder inside. There we'll be able to see our different files, right? Um, it's taking a little bit of time. Like you can already see, it has gotten to 100 MBs. Like while creating HTML, CSS, JavaScript files, it does not even go there, right? So until then, you can ask your doubts. It's taking a lot of time. Okay, so here I had already built this portfolio. So I will show you the folder structure here only. All right, so here you can see that in this build folder, you have something this as static. If you like see, all the files um, that were present inside of this public are present here as well, right? But if you click on index.html here, you can see it has been, made it like this, right? So whatever html that was not necessary to us and we wrote it, right? So it has been, made very compact, right? Similarly, if I go to this js, right? So whatever, javascript I wrote, right, it has converted, first of all it has converted into chunks, right? So we are doing different things on our website, right? We have different functionalities, so according to that it creates some chunks, right? So it has created these files, and inside of these files you can see this is very basic version of javascript here, right? So now, see, all the browsers are capable enough to run basic JavaScript. It's just a problem with modern JavaScript, right? Like all the functionalities that came later. So it has converted everything to compact JavaScript and it in basic version of JavaScript. All these files, if you will open, you will be able to see these, right? Correct. Now, similarly, if you go to CSS, you will be able to see things like this. All your css have also been made like very compact, right? So this build is what you use while deploying your site, not this particular react app, right? So it is very important to build your react app and then use this build folder to deploy your site, right? So in this build folder, all the files necessary to show your application as it is are present, correct? So our application looks like this. So all the files necessary to see this particular application and all the functionality inside of it, it has just made it compact and, has converted into basic JavaScript and CSS, which can be, handled by all the browsers. So that is how it is tackling this problem. So now, see, now our build folder for this particular website is also complete, right? So we were inside of this portfolio website. So here you can see again we have a build inside of static. We again have these three, right? See, all our media is also present here. See, right? We were utilizing all these media and this resume, correct? We were utilizing some JavaScript and CSS, right? So everything has been made compact and has been put in this particular build folder, right? Now let's go and deploy our site, right? To deploy your site, just go to Netlify, right? Netlify is nothing but a computer application that provides you this functionality to be able to deploy your applications, right? So first of all, if you haven't signed up, just sign up and log in inside of the website. Then you will be seeing some interface like this, right? After you come here, you can see these tabs here, right? So just go to the sites tab, and here when you go below, like just to scroll down to the end of the page, and you will be able to see this particular section. So in this particular section, all you need to do is you need to just put your build folder here, right? After you put your build folder here, you will be, able to deploy your site, right? So let's just go ahead and do that. So inside of our LaunchPadx folder, we had our portfolio website, and go inside of portfolio website. Don't put portfolio website folder here, and put the build folder here. Just upload your build folder, right? It will take some time to, deploy. So see, our site is live here, you can see, and from here you can open your site. So here at this particular URL, our site has been deployed, right? So you can now see my site here. There is an about section. There is also a project section. There is everything. Also, if you want to, change the name of this, see, the reason we are deploying on Netlify is, first of all, it's very easy. What we just, build our React app, and we just put our build folder here and we deployed it, right? And there are also multiple options, right? So if you go to deploy settings, here you can see, like, inside of general, if you go, you can change your site name. Whatever you want, you can just put here. So I'll just write Priyanshi and Priyanshi Netlify app. Okay, this has already been taken. Let's write portfolio, okay, and let's save this. Right, so now if I go to this particular URL, I will be able to see my site, right? So here my site has been deploy it, right? So on this particular URL, so you can also change your URL. You can also add continuous deployment also. Like once link, you can link to your repository. So once you push changes to your repository, you can, or you will be able to see those changes reflected upon your deployment link. So there are multitude of options that Netlify provides, and all for free. So that is why we are using Netlify to deploy our site, right? So this is also done. So we have basically covered everything that was required in our session. Okay. So first thing that we did was adding favicon and a title, and then we also added routes, right? So I will provide the link to this particular block inside of the resources drive that I shared yesterday, right? And also, like, for uploading your code on GitHub, it is very easy. Just go and create a repository, and there are all the necessary steps that you need to do to upload your code to GitHub. And then the next thing that you need to do is deploy your site. So you can just go to Netlify, and just go to Netlify, and here you will be able to see some options. From the sites option, just go here and scroll down to the bottom, and there you can see this particular section. All you have to do is put your build folder here, right? And do not forget to build your site before deploying it, right? It is a very important step. You cannot deploy using all these files, it will give you error. And the reason is simple: there are so many files here, right? If I just go here, see, it is 1 GB, and it is still counting. Like, see how huge is this app, right? But what this build command does is, it has just made everything very compact, right? If I just go inside of this build folder, and if I go and see its properties, it will be very less, right? Okay, it's still like, yeah, it is 310 MBs, right? So that is way lesser than 1 GB, correct? So you need to put your build folder to deploy your site, right? So I hope all the things were clear to you. If you have any doubts, just quickly ask using in the comment section. Um, Rohit, you can build your websites using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, obviously. But you can, if you haven't watched the session one, you can go and watch that session. And that session, I have just told, right, what are the problems with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Like, it is very fine to build HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, but when bigger companies were building, like better products and bigger products, at that time they were facing some issues, and that is why they were using these React or Angular or Vue, these kind of frameworks. So that is why. And also, like, in the industry, like, the demand of React and Next.js has like shoot up. So that is the reason we are learning React in this particular bootcamp, correct? Okay, also another thing, right? See, we have, so I've opened up this portfolio here. So it is someone's portfolio who's also a web developer. So you can see that he has an about section here, but he also has a skills section where he has shown his skills, etc. And he also, like, you can also go ahead and show your work, right? So right now what we have just made is a very basic portfolio, right? So if you want to add different things, you can add to your portfolio. Like, you can, we have already discussed how, see how easy it is to create these routes and these pages. You can just go inside of pages, create a page, maybe skills.jsx, and play around with your site. And like, and we also have an announcement to make. Like, the first thing is, you all need to build your portfolios, right? So the person who will be building the best portfolio will be receiving an Amazon voucher worth 500 rupees. So to be able to avail this particular voucher, you have to build your site, and you have to put it on your LinkedIn, right, by tagging crackDSA. And also, please put the code to GitHub and also deploy your site, right? Only then you will be able to avail five this voucher, right? All right, so that's it for the session, guys. um, I hope everything was clear to you. If there are any doubts, you can just ask in the comment section. If you guys don't have any doubt, we can like end the session. Okay, that is great, Kunal. If you have already built a portfolio, just put it on LinkedIn. That will also work. Like you don't have to build a similar portfolio at all. It was for people who were just beginners. That is why we have built this particular project. If you have already built your portfolio, then you can uh, okay, sure. I will send that open.svg and close.svg. I will put that inside of the drive only. Okay, so like if you have already built, that is very nice. Like, see, whoever portfolio is the best, that person is going to get the voucher. Okay. Kunal, you can make changes to it, like play around with it. So the first thing is it should be a React app, right? So just build your portfolio using React, or like if it is very basic, you can use all the files that I have used, and you can follow up the previous session and build your portfolio. And please show some creativity as well. For example, I just showed you this particular portfolio, right? So here you can see he has added a lot of things. He has also added this contact and his works and his skills, right? So you can play around with it and add all the things that you want to add, right? So you will be like we will be considering a portfolio which shows creativity as well. Okay, but don't forget to put it on LinkedIn. Like, how will we able to know that you have built a portfolio, right? So just put it on LinkedIn and tag crackDSA, and also hash LaunchPadx, and also like give a little bit description about your portfolio. Plus put all your code onto GitHub, and also deploy your site, and then then put it on LinkedIn. Okay, that is good, Kunal. Like if you think it is good, then you can surely just put up a LinkedIn post. From tomorrow we have CS fundamentals session, so Anish Day will be taking your CS fundamentals sessions. Okay, so I hope you guys have like understood everything in the session. You can watch the session again, like, and also watch the previous session again to build your portfolio, to be able to avail voucher. Okay, so that's it for this session. We will see you guys tomorrow.